What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. What's up, loves? Welcome back to another episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I am so excited for y'all to listen to today's podcast episode. I had the absolute pleasure of bringing one of my past clients who is just such an absolute soul sis, Miss Carlie Victor, onto the podcast today. And when I first met Carlie, it was literally probably like a month and a half into starting my business. We found each other through a Facebook group and we hopped on a call back then. And she was like, I don't want you to coach me. Like, I just want you to be my friend. And come about a year and a bit after that, she reached out to me one day and she's like, okay, like, I want a coach and I want to talk to you. So we hopped on a call and she ended up being one of my clients, and she had such a knowledge, like such a rich knowledge of manifestation and being the powerful creator of your reality and all of these different things that we talk about on the No Bullshit Manifestation Show prior to working with me. And we were just able to help her transcend into even greater levels inside of herself and put her on a path that is so fucking exciting and that you'll hear all about inside of the podcast episode today. But ultimately, Carlie very recently has developed an app called Soul Tribe, and Soul Tribe is a social and dating app for beautiful, conscious souls who are aware that they are the creators of their reality and they're looking to attract their high vibe tribe of friends as well as soulmate love. And so whether you are looking to make friends in your hometown, to have manifestation parties with, connect with people of similar interests all around the world, or attract that deep love into your life who understands you at a soul level, Soul Tribe is going to be the app for that. And it's just been so freaking powerful to watch Carlie's journey throughout this process and really step into this position of power inside of herself through this entire process. And she came onto the podcast to talk all about that, as well as just all of these beautiful realizations that she's had in manifesting the life that she has for herself and continuing to up level and create bigger, better, and more in her life. So we'll get into today's podcast episode, but I hope you enjoy. And without a further ado, here's Carlie. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I am so fucking lucky today to have one of my past clients and beautiful soul sisters, friends, loves on the podcast today. Her name is Carlie, and she is here to share just the incredible journey that she has been able to manifest for herself. So Carlie, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yay, cool. So let's kick this off with give us a little bit of your story. Like, what led you into manifestation in the first place? And from first finding manifestation, like who you are and where you are today.
Okay, so I feel like my story is like a little crazy. Not as crazy, dramatic as some others, but kind of silly because I always questioned life. And I distinctly remember, I think like a year before officially starting my journey, I would just take a pause and like look around and just be like, what is the point of all of this? And I would literally look at my cat and my boyfriend's dog and then just ask them, like, what is the meaning to life? Like, I know you guys know because I just think animals are like in tune and they know the secret. And literally a couple months after questioning it and just being open with everything, that's when I stumbled across the secret. And everything just started coming all at once. And I grew up with a religious background. So having that foundation of just always thinking of there being more and like this connection to the universe and God, it actually made it a lot easier for me to tap into manifestation because I was like, yeah, like this makes sense. So I
Mhm.
started off with The Secret like everyone else. And then the more and more I started getting into it, you reach that point of being excited, like, holy crap, like I create my own reality. And then you're like, fuck, I create my own reality,
Yeah.
depending on which way you look at it. Cause I'm just like, you mean to tell me like all of this X, Y, and Z, like horrible things that happened, like I was responsible for that. So that's when I really stepped into my power, when I realized it's not just about embracing the positive or the good things when it comes to consciously manifesting. It's about looking around and realizing all aspects of your life come from the thoughts and the energy that you're radiating. And so I felt like once I was able to grasp that, that's when everything just started transforming and transitioning to me. Then, I started reading, Abraham Hicks and then doing everything with law of attraction. And then more recently, I started focusing more on the quantum physics and like law of assumption aspects of everything.
Cool. I freaking love that. And I love that you bring that point up of the fact that like it's not just the good, pretty, shiny things that we manifest into our lives and that it is everything, because that totally is one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to manifestation. So, with all of that learning and everything that you've found to help you get to where you are, like what are the things that you've intentionally manifested?
Okay, so before I answer that, I must say, obviously, you were a big part of my journey. So, just like we were just talking about how it's not just about like the pretty stuff. I remember when I met you, I was at a point in my life where I understood and I grasped all the concepts, everything made sense. I remember when we first spoke, I was like, oh, like I already know that I'm worthy and deserving. Like, I don't need you to like tell me that. And I'm all into like the self-love stuff, but something was still missing. And that's when I reached out to you and I connected with you and you helped me so much. And I feel like it stems from that full embrace of realizing that it's not just about the pretty stuff. So even if like on the surface I conceptualized and I understood everything, there were still some other layers like the limiting beliefs and other things that had happened that I needed to like face and integrate. So 100%, that's very, very important. Just realizing like it's like multi-layered, everything with manifestation. But yeah, so some of the things that I've intentionally manifested, one of the funnest and craziest things for me was actually my job that I'm in right now. So at the time, I was at another job at a big hospital. And one day I just got inspired to just think about all the things that I loved about my current job while I was at work. So I started listing like my coworkers, the things that I do, and I really got into the feeling. And then I was like, what else do I want for myself as far as my career goes? Then I started listing all the things that I wanted in my new job. So, like more pay. At the time, I worked every third weekend. So, being Monday through Friday, working the day shift. And I just had all this love and all this energy flowing towards, like taking it from my current reality at my current job and then just flowing that energy to what I wanted to create in my next job. And literally, I went on break like an hour later and I got a message from a recruiter. I didn't even apply to the job. I didn't put out any applications. They reached out to me asking me if I was interested in applying, and I applied. And the job was literally right next to my current job. Like, it's the same commute, literally the building over. And I'm a scientist, and it was in a different area in the lab that I hadn't seen for years. But I went into the interview like confident that it was going to be mine. And the fact that the woman reached out to me just hours after I did that rampage of appreciation, like I knew it was a sign and I knew it was going to work out. So I went into it knowing that the job was going to be mine. And then they just offered me the position, and it wasn't even an interview. It was more so like a conversation. And they loved me, and I've been there for over a year now. And yeah, they're seeing all of this growth in me. They're recommending me for different positions, and I even got a raise within 3 months of starting there. So starting from my first job, the job I was at before till now, I'm now making $27,000 more in this job than I was at my previous job.
So
And it
fucking
has,
powerful.
yeah, and it had everything that I wanted.
Yeah. It was, I remember watching you manifest that because that's when we were working together. And first of all, I love that you brought up this piece of like, when we first had a conversation of being like, yeah, like I know how to love myself and like I know all of these things, because I think that that is one of these like big misconceptions when it comes to like gaining support in the manifestation process is like, oh, it's just for people who like don't know how to love themselves, or it's just for people who haven't done like quote unquote the inner work. But as we both know, it's like the inner work is never done. And when you're in that position where you do recognize your worth and have this really strong self-concept, which you talk about, that's when we get to take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And manifestation becomes more and more effortless, just like you experienced it. It was so fucking fun watching you manifest that job. There was one of the things that I've always admired about you is like you have this curiosity and like this desire for more adventure and more play and more opportunities for you to tap into like what is fun for you and like what's going to just make life so enjoyable. And I remember us having a conversation before you really set the intention or like put it out there that you wanted a new job, and you're just like, you know what, like that would be fun. And like if I don't get it, that's okay. Or like if something doesn't show up, that's okay. But it would be really fun for me to have more freedom in my schedule and to make more money and to like learn something new as a scientist in a different realm that I haven't before. And just like the fact that it showed up instantaneously is such a reflection of your energy and what has been possible for you from doing all of this inner work and creating this really incredible self-concept. So for the listeners who are curious, like what was your experience working with me like?
Okay, so working with you was honestly so freaking incredible. To anyone out there who thinks they do not need a coach, I was literally number one in not needing a coach. Like I knew all of this stuff. I was working at it, I things were manifesting. I didn't need anyone to explain to me how the universe worked. I had such faith and belief in the law of attraction, and I was just like, like coaches, they sound really cool, but again, like I felt like I wasn't at that place where I needed someone to just kind of hold my hand and like get me to like believe and get me to that point, which tends to be like one of the biggest things for people at first when they're starting the journey. But like I mentioned, I had the religious background, so I was like, oh, I got this. I'm already used to thinking and believing in things I can't see, so it's just the next step for me. But what really got me with you was the fact that it was like, okay, so you know all these things, you're conceptualizing them, you're having these manifestations, but then I felt called to you. And I just loved your vibe because you just vibe so well. I remember our first conversation before I decided to sign on with you. I was like, I just want to be your friend. Like, where do you live? I just want to hang out. And it's crazy because now we're both in New York and we've hung out. So I freaking love you. That's another thing I've manifested. I've manifested so many things, but even that, you know. And so working with you was really eye-opening for me because again, I was coming from a position of not feeling like I genuinely like did not need or want a coach. And one of the things that you really helped me with is trusting myself, which is bigger, I feel like, than trusting in the universe because you get to this point on your journey where you realize that you actually are the universe and the universe is working through you. But you really helped me get to that point of really trusting myself because I had all the faith and the trust in, you know, the law of attraction and the science behind everything. But there was this aspect of not really trusting myself to like fully embrace it and fully understand it. And so even for me, for feeling that I didn't need or necessarily want a coach, even though I had nothing against coaching, I thought like the whole idea of coaching and mentoring was like an amazing tool to have. But then I took the inspired action. I think when you reached out to me, you were reaching out to me to ask to join your academy. And then I was the one that was just like, nope, I've already decided you're going to be my coach. And I chose you to be my coach. And I remember when I first started working with you and hearing all the stories of all the other girls you were working with, one of the big things were a lot of those girls were like starting businesses and they were on these paths with their businesses. And in my head, I was like, damn, this girl, she doesn't advertise that she's a business coach, but she's basically a business coach. And at the time, I had no desire or even like the inkling of a thought for a business. And then towards the end of working with you, I got this inspired idea. And now I am starting a business. So it's just crazy how everything works out because you gave me that confidence and that energy to just go for it. So yeah, I absolutely just loved working with you and it's just added so much to my life. And now like we're friends, you know, through
Yeah,
working with you as my coach, which I absolutely love.
absolutely. Oh my God. I have so much energy in my body as you say all of that. And one of the biggest things that I want to point out for the listeners and what you just said is that trusting in yourself is more powerful than trusting in the universe. That is
100%.
profound
Yes.
because it's like everything is inside of us, just like you're saying inside of that. So for the listeners who feel as though they struggle to trust themselves, what's like one piece of advice that you could give to them after building this rock solid trust inside of yourself?
Okay, to get to the point of trusting yourself, sometimes you can start as small as just looking back on all of the things in your life currently right now that you love and value and appreciate, and just reminding yourself that literally everything is a manifestation. Like we're in this game and in this realm of life where we're consciously manifesting, but everything is a manifestation. So kind of like look back on the things that you're experiencing right now that you love, you appreciate, that you enjoy, and kind of just remind yourself that you created that. There was a time where you may not have, you know, been in the apartment that you're in now, or having the friends that you have, or the car that you drive. Even if you still want to make improvements in those areas, there was a past version of you who wanted to be in the place that you are right now. And you were able to go through life, whether you knew about manifestation or not, and get to that point. So I feel like that's like a really good place to start to realize like everything is a manifestation, even before you knew about manifestation. And so you knew all of it. You kind of knew the people to talk to and the way the circumstances fell, even though it may not seem like it. So now you're conscious of it, like it's even more powerful. So just think about like all of the power you have now behind your thoughts and your actions, knowing that you're consciously creating. And then in the same light, like own those things that you're living right now that you want to make improvements on, because yeah, those same things you manifested and created that as well. So again, I feel like it's one of the most powerful things to know that you're the creator of your reality in all aspects, because then it just allows you to take your power back in all areas of your life. So that's the number one thing that I would start with in trusting yourself. And once you get to that point, realizing that there are no outside forces. And that
Yeah.
being said, including the universe and God and source, spirit, whatever you call that beautiful, powerful energy, sometimes it seems separate from us, but that same power literally lives inside of us. It's the energy that's beating your heart, it's the energy that's digesting your food. All of those things that you're not even consciously, or you don't have to consciously be aware of, are taken care of for you. It's happening within you. Like, that's how powerful you are. Like, you trust your heart to beat, you trust your lungs to filter your oxygen. Like, all of these amazing things are already happening inside of you. So in the same way, the universe itself is also, there are no outside forces. That same powerful universal energy lives within you. And that is where your intuition goes. And that's why things are always working out for you. And that's why you can never get it wrong. Even if it seems like you don't know which way to go, I honestly, truly believe, even if you have two options, if you have a clear vision of what you want for yourself and you choose one or the other, you're going to succeed regardless, because you are the universe made manifest in this body. It's impossible for you to fail. So I feel like once you wrap your head around those ideas, and it helps again to look in your life right now, look at all the things around you, take responsibility for the things that you've created, and trust that the energy that led you to these creations, whether they were quote unquote good or bad, it's that same energy that you're writing those scripting letters to. It's that same universe that you're asking for signs. Like, that energy is within you. So yeah, so once I was able to wrap my head around that idea, and I feel like law of assumption is like a little tier higher than law of attraction, because it really helps you embrace the knowing that you are God in your universe. Once I was able to embrace that idea, it did become a lot easier for me to trust myself.
Mm. God, you just like dropped so much wisdom right there.
I'm
And
gonna drop my mic.
yeah, straight up.
I don't want to
Like,
drop it. It's gonna make too much noise, but I dropped it. Energetically, I dropped my mic.
energetically dropping the mic, because everything you just said in that is so true and so powerful. And one of the things that I loved watching you really develop was like what you said, following those intuitive pulls and trusting your intuition to guide you to ultimately what is destined for you, what is divinely yours, which for you is this path of becoming a business owner and making such a powerful impact in the world of spirituality and manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption, all of these good things. So tell us what this business path has looked like for you and what is being birthed from it, what you're manifesting from it.
Yeah, of course. So again, I just want to say I have you to thank. I was going to say to blame, but you know what I mean. I have you to thank for this, because I literally started with you and I was like, why does this girl attract all these business women? Like, I'm not a businesswoman, but I love her vibes. I'm going to manifest some things and it's going to be awesome. And literally towards the end, that's when I got the inspiration to create Soul Tribe. And Soul Tribe is a social and dating app for the spiritual community. And I'm pretty sure it's the first social and dating app for those of us who are conscious of the fact that we create our own reality. So those of us who are into law of attraction, manifestation, the spiritual laws, and essentially it is so much more than a social and dating app, because it's a community built on conscious connections and creations. So it allows people to connect for friendship and love, both locally and all over the world. And it also has some incredible features which allow people to tap into their self-love, tap into their own power in order for them to manifest whatever it is that they choose to create themselves while they're building these strong connections. So I'm very, very excited for it, because I remember when I started my spiritual journey, I didn't have anyone who I can talk to about what I was going through. You know, my family isn't really into this stuff. My boyfriend's not really into it. So I would go on social media and I would join all of these groups, and it was incredible. But I was missing that like in-person connection. Like when I met you in New York City, we had such a great time. And that was what I was looking for. And one day I just got the inspiration. I was like, why not just create an app? And the crazy thing is I've still don't fully understand how to make an app. Like I don't know how to code or anything. And I didn't know how it was going to come about. But again, like after working with you and really establishing that trust, I just trusted in myself. And it was crazy because I trusted in myself to do the research and to get everything going. And I actually started doing it on my own, trying to figure out how to maneuver it. But then I also had to trust myself when I realized that my energy was misaligned. And it became more like an energy of like desperation, like, oh, I have to figure this out. When is this going to happen? I don't fully understand this. And I trusted myself in that instant and I took a break from it. And I think I took a break for about 3 months. And then other circumstances happened. People came into my life at the right time, which led me to like kickstarting it all over again. And I've just been going ever since. So yeah, it's been about a year now, and now it's under review in the app stores. So I hope it's going to launch soon. So I'm just really excited to share it with everyone because it was the first time I ever invested so much like time and energy and money in essentially myself to create this, and yeah, now I like set up the LLC for it. I just set up a business bank account. I'm like, who am I?
Oh, it's so powerful though to say like, yeah, like a year ago this time, it was like just the beginning of it. And like a few months prior to that, you're like, nope, never gonna own a business, not gonna have this, not gonna do that. And really just allowing yourself, like we've been saying in this conversation, to continue to build that sense of trust inside of yourself and really give yourself permission to take the leap of faith on these intuitive pulls that you're getting. And I remember the coaching call that you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I'm gonna do this.
I was asking you, I was like, I think I'm gonna try to code it myself. You're like, I think you should hire someone, maybe not try to code it yourself. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, it was so many things just coming in all at once. And it's like, it's not even like officially launched yet, but taking that step, like even after I just started, like just first invested the money and I took out the loan and I reached out to the developers and started designing everything. I remember there was a day I told myself, like, even if it were to all end right now, I would be so happy because I was so proud of myself for like just going for it. And just the level of trust that I had in myself was so profound. And yeah, it's just been just straight shooting ever since. And still having like this level, like you mentioned, of just trust. It's been a powerful journey and I'm excited for it.
So tell us, like, what has been the most challenging part of this journey? Because as you know, here on the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, we love to talk about the real, raw, nitty gritty part of these journeys. So yeah, what's been the biggest challenge in choosing to follow this inspiration?
Yes, no bullshit, 100%. The biggest challenge was, like I mentioned, just taking full responsibility and realizing, like I mentioned, my boyfriend's not into any of this. So there was a time where I was just like, I might have to break up with him. He's too negative. He's not into any of this spiritual stuff. Like, what am I going to do? And there was a part of me that, kind of kept what I was doing kind of secret from him, just because I knew he wasn't going to fully understand it and embrace it. And kind of same thing with like my family and some of my friends that I was growing up with. It's realizing like you're evolving and the people in your life may not fully understand what you're going through, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth it. That doesn't mean that you should stop. That doesn't mean that what you're feeling or what you're going through and what you're experiencing is wrong or it's not true just because they're not experiencing it and they don't understand. So for me, that was the most challenging thing. And like, I'm still like learning and growing through it because like my family doesn't even know that I have a podcast. They don't know I have a YouTube. They don't know that I'm building this app even. Like my boyfriend, I share all this stuff with him. And for me, that was even a big step. So it's like, but I am still unapologetically me. So I still talk to my family and stuff. Like I still have like my positive stuff that I talk and the way I look at life. My sisters describe me as Zen. That's how they understand it. But it's getting to this level of realizing like this is your journey. Because I've tried to send them things to kind of see if they would bite with certain aspects and not feeling the need to change anyone because it's all about you and just trusting in your journey and not feeling the need like they have to come on this journey with me. But yeah, just staying in my power, staying in my belief and doing what I need to do for myself. That was the most challenging thing. And now it's the most empowering thing ever. So it's like realizing like your most challenging thing right now in your life, regardless of what it is, it's going to end up being something that empowers you at the end, regardless of what it
1000%.
is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1000%. That's something that I've always honored you for, is that like you have this rock solid, like, this is me, unapologetically Carlie, in front of anybody and everybody. So for our listeners who like struggle with that, because that's definitely one of the biggest things that a lot of the women that I work with experience, is like feeling as though they need the validation and the support and the like go ahead from the people in their lives in order to feel like they can be this version of themselves and they can manifest the things that they want. What would you share with them?
What I would share is first, you just have to, like you said, get very rock solid within yourself. Because part of me, like I mentioned, like I didn't share my podcast and my YouTube with my family, but at first it was from an energy of, oh, what are they going to think? Like, I don't want them to judge me. But then when I got really rock solid in myself and what I believed, that transmuted and it changed into, well, why do I feel the need to share everything on social media? Like, why can't I just have this for myself? So it's kind of like once you have that rock solid, just belief in yourself, just kind of do things for yourself and what they mean to you and kind of leave everyone out of the equation. Realize that when you show up for yourself as your most authentic self, you're going to have more to give to other people. So for me, like I mentioned, I reached a point of realizing like, why do we need to share everything on social media like anyway? Like kind of trusting in yourself and what you're creating and knowing that you're going to find your niche, knowing that you're going to find those people who support you. And you don't have to necessarily like transform like your family or even your romantic partners, because the thing is, as you transform, since everyone and everything is a reflection of us, those people are going to naturally transform on their own terms, which is what you would want anyway. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure majority of the people listening, no one forced them into their spiritual awakening. No one forced law of attraction to them. You naturally just stumbled upon it. And it's probably like one of the most beautiful, sometimes frustrating, but one of those incredible things. So that is something that I also had to learn. Like, it's okay for me to just be on my journey, be unapologetically myself, and not feel the need to force myself on other people, and just realize when I'm just being true to myself and what it means for me to be on this journey, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. So fucking good. So tell us, like, what manifestation principles do you feel as though are the most important to you to like help you get to this position where you are so unapologetically yourself and like confident inside of your vision?
So I started off with like most people with law of attraction. And now I told you like I'm more with law of assumption. I actually have like a podcast episode about this, but law of attraction and law of assumption, I don't know, it seems like on TikTok, I don't scroll through TikTok as much, but I realize like there's like this war between like law of attraction, law of assumption sometimes. And for me, I've just interpreted them as like basically like two different sides of the same coin. So, law of attraction is all about realizing that you're the creator of your reality. Things are always working out for you. You live in an abundant universe. And law of assumption just slightly shifts it in a very powerful way, in that instead of looking outside like you are attracting things, you realize that you are the one creating things, which is a very slight difference, but it's powerful. But it doesn't disregard law of attraction, because I feel like the only reason why it looks like we're attracting things is from a 3D perspective. It looks like something wasn't there and then now it is. But law of assumption just kind of teaches you that it was always inside of you. And once you establish a very strong self concept, the way you see yourself moving about the world and how you affirm other people see you in the world, that's what is essentially creating everything around you, because everything is a reflection of you. So that is something that was really powerful for me, because instead of asking the universe for signs, I still talk to the universe and I still talk to God, but it's like this layer of understanding, like you are a full extension of those energies. When you ask the universe for a sign and you're able to perceive that sign, that's all you, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what was really powerful for me in making this shift, because it also shows you that whatever is happening in the 3D, like right now, it's based on past thinking, all of it. So that's something that was very powerful for me, because it allowed me to realize, like, regardless of what's going on right now, I'm creating my story in this current reality, and that's going to create my next now moment. So, like, even me and you having this conversation right now, I remember you told me that I should start a podcast, and then I did. And then you started a podcast, and like, that was based on old thinking. Like, right? There was a time in the past where we were just marinating these ideas, and now I'm on your podcast. And
Totally.
it's the same thing with even the things right now that in your life may not seem like they're going the way you want. Instead of thinking like, oh my God, like my manifestation techniques aren't working, maybe I need to work a little harder, I started realizing and kind of taking a step back and saying like, wait, these are just based on old thoughts. And I've already identified what these old thoughts are. So it makes sense, like there's this little time lag. So kind of like embracing whatever you're feeling in the moment, transmuting those energies, and having the full faith and confidence that whatever it is that you're doing in this now moment is going to lead to the next now moment. Just like whatever you're living in this present moment is only a byproduct to what you were doing before. So yeah, that was the most powerful thing for me when it came to just integrating all of this. And then just, I don't know, now I see life as kind of like a game, and I'm like, what's going to happen next? And it's like, well, I'm creating it. So
Yeah, totally. Totally. And it's like, what I hear as you say that is like, it's all about our evolution. It's all about like everything that we've been talking about inside of this episode of like choosing yourself, choosing to build that trust, choosing to be the deliberate creator of your reality, because through that, you inevitably are creating greater and greater and greater experiences for yourself, because you're coming back to this center point of like, okay, this is about me and like what I want for myself, and knowing that like all of that is possible.
yes, everything is a choice. So like even in the moment where it doesn't seem like things are going the right way, you can choose in that moment what's going to happen next. And honestly, like we are talking about before, within the spiritual community, sometimes like there's this kind of like close your eyes against like the pain or the healing that needs to happen or the negative things. I just started seeing everything as it has to be for my greater good, because things are always working out for me. So when those things come up, if they elicit emotion in me, I want to scream, I want to cry, like I want to curse, let it out. Let yourself live and experience those things, and then adjust your crown when you're done. Because you're the god, you're the goddess, you're the king, you're the queen of your reality. Adjust your crown and then decide and make a choice in that moment what your next moment is going to be.
Next mic drop. Energetic mic drop. There we go.
Bam.
So fucking good. And I could talk about this all day long with you. But last question that I have for you is, if you could give one piece of no bullshit advice or wisdom to listeners who have resonated with this episode, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, my brain is like spinning with all of the possibilities, but the one that I would say would be to just take responsibility for everything and anyone, the annoying coworker, the things that happened in the past. And I know a lot of those things are like hard because it's like, I was a child when this happened. Like, why, like certain things, it's kind of hard to wrap our head around how certain things can happen. And it's still hard for me sometimes. But then I remind myself now, those moments don't define you unless you give them the energy and the power to. Like, there are certain things I cannot fully fathom, like, things that happened to me when I was 3, I can't go back. Either way, it seems like it's unfair. But what I know right now, especially being conscious of my creations, being a conscious creator, is I get to transmute all of that. So the no BS advice that I would give is just to take responsibility, know that you are in full control, and no one or nothing is more powerful than you in your universe unless you give your power away. And even in that moment, that is still you giving them the power. No one can do or take anything from you. So just stand strong in your beliefs and whatever it is that you're wanting to create for yourself. Know you're worthy and deserving of it. Whatever happened in the past is just old thinking. And as long as you don't focus on it, it can't manifest because you're a powerful creator. And there's laws in place that say unless you focus on things, they just can't be. And for the things that keep coming up, if there's certain patterns or things that keep coming up, just be honest with yourself. Work through them. Whatever emotions they elicit, allow yourself to do whatever feels right for you in order for you to transmute them into that love and light. And yeah, we're all meant to be, do, have, create, and experience what we choose. And a lot of that choice has to do with what we focus on. So yeah.
Mic drop moment number 3, baby. Come on, Carlie. Oh, so fucking good. This entire conversation is so powerful, and I'm sure it's going to help all of the listeners. So where can they find you, and how can they become a part of your community?
Yeah, awesome. So I have my own podcast called Co-Create with Carlie. And I also have a YouTube channel and a TikTok. And I'm also going to share with you, to put in the show notes, the link to the landing page of Soul Tribe. So right now I'm collecting emails. So then once the app officially launches, I can let people know that it's live. And also, if you guys have any like businesses, products, or services which you would like to advertise within Soul Tribe, there's a link on the landing page to sign up for that as well. Because like I said, it's a community and I didn't want to just have like random like car insurance ads on the app. So I want to be able to promote like high vibe businesses and products within the app. So yeah.
Yay. Amazing. All of that is going to be listed down below in the show notes for you all to go check out Carlie, check out Soul Tribe, and be a part of her community. But again, Carlie, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kat, keep doing what you do. If anyone is listening to this, I just got inspired to say this, so I'm going to say it. Kat loves me and appreciates me. I leave her with no choice, but I am here because I want to be here. And so if you are thinking of coaching with her or joining her academy, I just want to say, like, it is worth it. The biggest investment that you could make is in yourself. And so if you guys are questioning, like, maybe not, do the clarity call with her. You're going to fall in love with her. If you're listening to this, you already have. But yeah, I just wanted to end with that.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I am so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.